I'm a 29-year-old male, and my girlfriend, who's 26-year-old female, broke up with me after I told her I was worried she would leave me. We've been dating for around 6 months. We both had recently come out of a toxic relationship, her more recent than me. We were friends for a couple of years before this. The relationship was amazing. We had a couple of arguments about little things once a month, but we both loved each other very much. She makes a lot more money than I do and a stable job. I'm self employed in a bad financial spot that's getting better, but have been on welfare to help me get by. All right. This is a long one. Golly, this dude wrote an essay. I'm going to skip to the end. TLDR. We never called each other names, loved each other a lot. Walks, movies, restaurants, shopping, it was perfect. But me expressing my concern about being left for something better caused an argument where she broke up with me. How do I deal with these intrusive thoughts because of previous toxic relationships? I knew she wasn't cheating. She brought us matching pajamas. I met her family and I see them regularly, but my stupid brain ruined a perfect thing. I don't want this to ever happen again because it hurt her feelings.
Mm.
Wait, it hurt her feelings because you were worried about being broken up with? I kind of want to hear this argument.
Mm. Well, you gotta go read
Because
back then.
I am not reading that. This is like a literal essay. But I would say this. Oftentimes in conversations, whenever somebody brings a concern, the other person feels attacked, even though they shouldn't be feeling attacked. So
Wait.
then what happens is instead
Um,
of like trying to hear the person out and like help them or like fix the problem, they instead start attacking back
yeah.
or like being defensive. And I think that's what happened here. Or sometimes what happens is they turn around on the other person. So like let's come to you and tell you, hey, I have a problem that you did this. And instead of being like, okay, let's work on that. They're like, well, you did this and you did this and you did this.
Yeah.
It's like they turn it back on you. And that's not what they should do because at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
you came to them with a problem and you're not coming to them with a problem because like you're angry with them or whatever. It's just that you are feeling however you feel. Maybe you feel doubts, maybe you feel insecure.
Yeah.
Maybe you were hoping that they would help you feel better and you trusted that they were a safe space. So I don't know. What do you think?
I agree that sometimes communicating is really, really hard, especially with somebody that's feeling hurt. I feel like hurt people do try to hurt people back, which is why in this day and age, I try to think a lot about what I'm gonna say, how I'm gonna say it, what's the comeback. And I mean, it's not good to plan arguments, which I've told my exes before, but I think it can be good to plan them because you need to have a rebuttal for everything. You have to know how this person is going to talk to you, and you have to know your triggers as well. So in planning, I try to plan out the things that might be said that would in turn hurt me and make me reiterate that back to them. So I just plan the conversation out from the beginning and then make sure I'm as honest and as good as I can be.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. And I think to add on top of that, I think also what I try and do lately is I remove myself from the conversation. Like I remove me as the person being talked about.
Yeah.
And that has helped a lot. I mean, at first, it's like it's hard to do. Like you hear someone telling you that you did something wrong or that you did whatever, and
Hmm.
then you immediately, especially if you feel like you didn't do that thing,
Yeah.
you immediately get defensive because like, what the hell are you talking about? But if you just remove yourself from the situation, pretend you're talking about somebody else, and you
Yeah.
have no idea whether or not what they're saying is true or not, because you know you in any situation you only hear one side of the story, right?
Yeah.
You only hear in their perspective. So if you do that, you're like, okay, so your husband didn't pull away the groceries that made you feel sad.
Hmm.
Okay. And you know, if you keep yourself in a situation like I did pull away the groceries, that was something you took out the fridge and then put back. On the
Yeah.
other hand, you could just remove yourself and be like, okay, well, maybe you should I don't know, whatever you decide to say based on you removing yourself.
Yeah.
And then later on, what I do is I go back and I revisit it, and I might say like, hey, when you was talking about that, you actually did take the thing out the fridge and put it back.
Yeah.
I didn't put it back. So like I don't bring up during the actual argument because I want to make sure that they feel heard and understood.
Mm-hmm.
But then later on, especially if they were wrong, I can't like let it go
Yeah,
personally.
because then your feelings are at stake as well at that point.
Yeah. But sometimes too, when I remove myself, I do realize that I actually am in the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't realize that when I'm still in the moment because I'm just like defensive.
Yeah.
So it kind of works both ways.
Yep.
So I would say to him, I think that his girlfriend was toxic actually, and it's kind of good that she left him because he came to her with a concern. And instead of like hearing him out and like being like, it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
she turned it into argument, or
Yeah.
she allowed it to escalate into argument, and then broke up with him, which confirmed his concern in the first place. So like she just basically rubbed salt in the wound that was already there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's not a person that you want to be with.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Did did you did I send you the love test that the guy did on his girlfriend?
No, I don't think so.
He was telling her that he had to get a new position or he turned down a position at his
Oh
job.
yeah, you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. It feels something like that.
Talk about that one. I think the audience might be interested.
This guy did a love test on his wife where he had to no, she got a new job. So now was able to take less on at his job and make a little bit less money. So he was trying to see if she would be willing to help him out in the household, like 50-50 or whatever. And then he'd be allowed to go to therapy, which he said he needed. And she wasn't for it at all because she felt like he needed to pay the bills like way he was doing it. And he needed to support her the way he was before. And she wasn't going to split it with him at all. So that told him that she wasn't somebody that he wanted to be with because his mental health meant nothing to her in the long run, which is definitely not good.
Oh yeah, I remember the story now. You just reminded me. Actually, I did remember it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't remember it. I kind
Yeah.
of want to tell the story because I feel like it was way more than that, dude. Like he was like, "Hey, babe, now that you make him more money, I want to take a year off from work." Or I think he said 6 months. I want to take 6 months off from work
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
just focus on myself for a little bit.
Yep.
And then she was like, "Hell no." And he was like, "Just 6 months though, like not like forever.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go to a therapist and get my mental health checked." And then she was like, "You tricked me.
Yeah.
If mental health was a problem for so long, why only now you mentioning it?" That's what she said. Like that's so callous, dude. If mental health was a problem for so long, how come only now you mention it? Now that I'm making more money,
There's many
and
reasons why.
he's like, well, now that you're making more money, I figure you could now support me because I was supporting you all while you was in school
Mm-hmm.
for years.
Yeah.
I paid all the bills, I did everything, and I supported you. And I just want 6 months for you to support me while I do this.
Yeah.
Dude, that sounds very fair.
That's extremely fair.
6 months?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, he said that she was making six figures
Mm-hmm.
and she could afford to pay all the stuff. Like it wasn't like he was asking her to like take care of him for the rest of his life now that she's making six figures.
Yeah, he'd be back in 6 months.
Yeah. So then she was like, no, I'm not gonna support no man, and like I'd rather break up with you than support you and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, gotcha. I actually been going to therapy. Well, oh no, that's the next thing she said. She was like, why can't you go to therapy and work at the same time
Mm-hmm.
instead of taking 6 months off?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I just want to focus on myself, blah, blah. But when he was like, gotcha, he was like, actually, I have been going to therapy and working at the same time
Mm-hmm.
while supporting you for all these years. But I wanted to see if you was a good wife or like you would like if you would leave me if things go bad, because
Yep.
that's what you worry about as anybody in a relationship. Like,
Hmm.
for better or for worse, if the worst happens, are they going to leave?
Yeah.
And I guess I granted they weren't married, right?
Not yet.
So they have no obligation to support each other. But at this time, fair is fair, right? Like, he was supporting her for years, and yeah,
Hmm.
they weren't married then either. So
Hmm.
why would marriage have to be a prerequisite for her to support him in this case for only 6 months?
Yeah.
So, because I was trying to understand her perspective, but then at the end, it was like, but he supported her for years, and they weren't married.
So I have a question because you talked about your views on gender roles, and I feel
Mhm.
like her stance comes from that kind of perspective where the man takes care of the girl. So does that only qualify during marriage, or does it qualify as you're building towards marriage as well?
So I believe in gender roles, but I think like gender roles doesn't mean like, so for me, gender roles doesn't mean like the man does everything per se,
Mm.
right? Like, yes, I think the man should pay the bills, but
Uh-huh.
I also believe he should be in control of
Mm.
all the money the wife brings in and that he brings in.
Okay.
So, because the money is shared, right? So he's the one who makes the budget, make sure they're financially taken care of, make sure like all the bills are paid, make sure that they're investing in their retirement and all that stuff. Like, he's a finance. Actually, it could be whoever is better at it. Really, that's the
Okay.
truth.
Okay.
But if you're looking at gender roles primarily, in my opinion, the man should be able to handle all that stuff because he's supposed to be the leader of the household and all that kind of stuff, right?
Hmm.
But also, as a leader, you have to know who is better at what. And if
Delegation.
you recognize that your wife is better at it, then you
Hmm.
should have her do it.
Hmm.
So to me, the gender role is not necessarily about specific tasks. It's more about, I guess, the man leading and the woman kind of trusting him to lead.
Gotcha.
That's the main gender role there.
I heard a story of a married couple who had married for a long time, and the wife got a stroke. And after she got a stroke, they lost the cars, they lost the house, they lost everything because she was handling all the bills, and he never knew how to do it. I think that's the issue comes about when you put everything on one person, even in like business and at work. If you put everything on one person, that person like has to take vacation or something, then it's just gone. There's many times I went to the bank and I need something done. They're like, "Oh, the person for that is not here." So he does not do it at all ever again until they
Uh,
come back.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And that's for anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in our society, we do a lot of like specialization,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, and even at my job or any job, you have the one person who's really good at this thing, so we just always let that person do it.
Yep.
Then if they leave, you have literally nobody to take over.
Mm-hmm.
And like in my job, for example, like when this guy was leaving, I had to take over his projects. So he tried to train me before he left.
Yeah.
But sometimes training is going to take way more than like a few months or a few
Yeah.
weeks in my case.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, in my scenario, I am good at what I do. So even if he didn't train me, I probably would have still figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
But his understanding of the subject matter was way more than me, and he could have speak on it way more than me. So like my understanding of subject matter is way less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good at doing what he did, but I don't understand exactly what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just running code and stuff, and I understand how the code works,
Yeah.
but I don't understand the history of the data. I don't understand like where it came from, what it's supposed to represent. I'm slowly learning that now as I
Mm.
go along, but
Yeah.
he went with all that information.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same thing for most jobs, which is, I'm about to go down a rabbit hole right here,
Mm-mm, go
which
ahead.
is why I feel like jobs need to pay people better.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have instead of like trying to hire new people and paying the new person, why not pay somebody that you already have who knows how to do the job, who's been doing the job? Why not pay them more to do a better job?
Mm-hmm.
Especially like one thing I hate is when somebody leaves
Yeah.
and then you cover for them, quote unquote, temporarily. You
Mm.
don't get increased pay.
Mm.
You don't get any benefits at all. You take on a bigger workload, and then pretty much you never get that person to come back, and like nobody comes back and take it back from you. So that
Yeah.
now you just temporarily took on something permanently.
Yeah.
I don't go on a rant, so let me just stop here and let you talk.
Well, that's kind of like what's happening to me, but I did get the title, I did get everything that comes with it. But there's no one to replace me. So I started doing everything that I used to do before this position. So it's like at times it's like, well, I don't really stress at work because I don't feel like it's worth my time. But it can be like, well, I have to do this, and this. And there's no one else that can do any of these. Maybe I can split up these things. I have to try and delegate people to do tasks as the day goes, just to get things done for the week. So things look good.
And then I've also heard you say you only have 5 people working with you.
For me.
Where, which 4 and you? I thought it was 5 and
No,
you.
no, I mean they're working for me, so I have to tell them what to
Oh
do.
shit, man, my heart. I was like, damn, you are really fucked. But I've heard that you told me like there are people with most teams have 20 plus people, and your team is only 5. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching Superstore on
Mm-hmm.
Hulu. Free advertising, I guess. Yeah,
Sponsor us
y'all could always back pay me, like
whenever they find the
never mind.
podcast.
Yeah, whenever they find a podcast, and let's be honest, people are greedy and cheap and they're not gonna do it, so it's
Yeah.
okay. But I was watching the show, and basically the store corporate was taking away hours
Mm.
from like that store, and they were like, well, make make it work with less hours. So they're giving all their employees less hours
Mm-hmm.
and expecting everything to still run exactly the same. So eventually, what happened was the store started falling apart because
Obviously.
obviously they don't have enough hours to
Mm-hmm.
do everything. So then corporate was like, "Oh, we saw a Yelp review. Someone said that your store is looking trashy. Do you guys need more hours?"
Oh my God.
And so they got more hours. And the person was like, I've been asking them for months and months for more hours. And only now, after we got a bad Yelp review, they
Mm-hmm.
gave us more hours. So then they had the idea of let's just do it ourselves. Let's just post these Yelp reviews from fake accounts so they could give us more hours.
Mm-hmm.
So they started doing that and it worked until it backfired.
Uh-oh.
Because what happened is they recognized like, oh, this is coming from like the same like IP address in the same day. So they kind of got caught, but in
Mm-hmm.
the end, it worked out,
Yeah.
in some kind of way.
Okay.
Basically, I basically spoiled the whole episode, so I'm gonna stop there. But basically, it worked out in the end. They got more hours. One person nearly got fired, but didn't get fired for it.
That's the thing. Like people on top, I mean like the top, don't listen to people on the bottom at all when it comes to like we need better pay, we need better workspace, we need more people, things like that. They ignore all of that, and then when somebody from the outside looking in says, "Hey, why don't you have enough people working here?" Then they want to come and give them more hours, add people to work with them.
Mhm.
It's like we're the front line. We're the one. Well, not I won't say it personally, but like when I say we, I mean the we as the employees. We're on the front line working, dealing with people every day. We know what we need. We're just asking you for what we need, and sometimes not even much. Give us $1 here, $1.50, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the crazy thing. Like, man, dude, I'm about to really go down a rabbit hole because like this kind of coincides with something I've been reading. I read recently on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
which was somebody posted Kim Kardashian saying something about how nobody works hard, nobody wants to work nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was in response to somebody asking how to become a billionaire or how to become rich. And she was like, nobody wants to work nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was basically on her ass because like they were like, what are you talking about? Right.
Yeah.
But then the person was like, I understand what she was trying to say, blah, blah. People don't be trying to work hard at work and stuff. People be slacking
Mm-hmm.
or people are lazy. And I'm like, what? And he was like, well, she was just talking in general. And I was like, what? First of all, most people who work in, even if they're doing the bare minimum,
Mm-hmm.
they're still working hard
Yeah.
just to barely get by.
Mhm.
right? And then you have people at the top literally doing nothing, or like I wouldn't say they're doing nothing. They're doing the logistics of things potentially, right? So they have to
Yeah.
keep track of that stuff. But let me just get back to the point I was trying to make. The point is, people, I feel like people generally work hard or they try.
Mhm.
And then you have people saying that they're lazy just because they're not rich.
Yeah.
You can't equate like just because you're not rich means you're lazy. That's not true. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't being fairly compensated.
Yeah.
Like people working hard, getting paid minimum wage, which is $7, which is like poverty levels, and then you telling them, "Oh, you lazy,"
Mhm.
and then you expect them to work harder from that. Like,
Yeah.
is that supposed to motivate me? I getting paid shitty. I have 20 roommates in a studio apartment.
Oh, whoa, whoa! This is extreme. Are there roaches? Because
No, we keep it really clean, but I have 20 roommates, and I barely could afford rent. I'm on food stamps. I
Mhm.
don't want to be because apparently me using the government help means even more so that I'm trash, a
Mhm.
bad human for even using it. But I don't have a choice, and I'm making $7 an hour, and I have student loans,
Yeah.
and I'm lazy, apparently. Like I don't know, man. I stuff like that really pisses me off. Is like, why do we judge people and say that they're doing something negative? Is like a slap in the face, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
But I actually wanted to comment on something you said, but I lost it.
Oh, good man. I feel like I won't say rich is lazy, but richness comes from trying to find a way out of working. So not really lazy, but like it's better than working, and it's less work than actually working sometimes.
I would say this. I think people who start businesses work very hard,
Hmm.
right? And I think they do it like they have sleepless nights, they have probably work 24/7, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. But then once they become rich, one, they get less money taken from them from taxes.
Mhm.
Two, they get free stuff because people want to be associated with them, so they give them stuff for free so that they could like show it off and get them
Mhm.
promotion
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So you're already rich, you already have money, you're getting stuff for free.
Yeah.
And then you have people who are poor getting less money and have to pay for everything. And if they want to raise their circumstance above wherever they at, it's it's uh it's gated by money. Like if I want to start a business, I have to pay money to start an LLC. Money I
Yeah.
don't have. If
Mm.
I want to do this, I have to pay money to register my business online. Like everything is blocked by money. So if you're poor and you don't have the money, how do you expect to get out of it? Like how
You
do you
know,
expect to get that money
e-
to get out of it?
easy answer. Get a second job.
Dude, I know people with 5 jobs and they're still struggling.
You being serious?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, okay, maybe not five, maybe like three.
A lot still.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like you said, everything costs money. So I know people who had up to three jobs, but one job was to just pay for car notes and car insurance. The other job was to pay for bills, and the other job was maybe money for yourself. It's like
Yeah, but they're
this is getting
lazy.
crazy. Yeah, exactly. But this is getting crazy though. You know what I mean? Like three jobs just to have money for different things.
Yeah. And you know what's
I
even
need a
more?
car for work, but I can't afford a car. So I need to get a job to pay for the car so I can get to work at my first job to get money to pay bills, not money for myself.
Yep. And you know what's even more crazy? Jobs don't want to like a lot of these like fast food and stuff like that. They don't want to hire people as full-time employees because then they would have to give them better benefits and better pay and stuff like that. So instead, they hire them as half-time employees to avoid that. Or even better, hire them as a contractor
Hmm.
so that you don't have to give them any benefits at all.
I had an ex who worked at Walgreens and she would only get 35 hours a week. That's it. Can't do more. Shouldn't do less. And it's like you doing it just so you don't get to 40? That's wild, man.
Well, they at least they do a whole five. They could do 39 hours only.
Jeez, man. And if
That
you
would have
did
been a
if you
fun.
did more, it was a big deal to get overtime.
And that's crazy too. Because what it also do is, hey, we're gonna pay you for this time. And then if you are like, let's say you have to close,
Hmm.
now you working after the place closed. I remember working right at Subway.
Hmm.
Granted, our boss paid us for all the time we worked, so we never got overtime though.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, let's say I have to work 9 hours, right?
Hmm.
We close. I have to either hurry up and do all the closing things within my time, or do it correctly, which gonna take me beyond the amount of time I'm supposed to work.
Hmm.
And it's crazy because like at one point, you want to do what you have to do to make sure that your employer makes the maximum profit.
Mm.
But on the other hand, your free time is valuable.
I don't
You're
think.
already
Sorry, go ahead.
you're already not getting compensated enough for your time, but now they actually taking your free time as well.
I was gonna say the first part of what you said is I don't think that's true. I don't think employees go in thinking I'm gonna make sure McDonald's makes some money today. They go into work thinking I want to come back tomorrow. What do I have to do to not? It's not like to come back tomorrow.
Well, the thing is, like, for me, well, okay, so I will just say this. Me and my previous employer, we have a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
He takes care of his employees as best as he can while still like being business minded, right?
Yep, yep.
So he used to give us bonuses. He used to like
Mm.
really like make sure that we had enough time. And like I remember asking him for raises and he actually gave me raises.
Damn.
And then later on I was like, damn, can you retake this? Can you take this raise back because it stopped giving me food stamp and I actually can't afford food now?
Oh
He didn't
man.
take it back because he was like, I can't do that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's hard.
yeah. So, but like he tried to take care of us, right?
Wait,
So I
can I ask how much was the raise to get you off food stamps? Was it like 25 cents or something?
I was making 15 an hour and
And
then I couldn't get food stamps anymore.
what you making before that?
I was making like 8 or
Oh, so
like
you got a big raise then.
yeah, like he was like
Oh, okay.
because and then he also like promoted me to manager as well.
Okay, okay.
So like granted I was unofficially manager
I was about
because
to
I wasn't
say
yeah.
sometimes it's like you make it $8 an hour, you could get food stamps, you could get help. Then you make like 8.25, they're like, okay, you make too much. I don't feel like the line between enough and too much
Yeah,
is far enough apart.
I agree. Because I think actually at one point I did have that happen before I was making 15. Not that I remember. Like I remember it was like I was making like a little bit more. And they're like,
You good? You
the
up now?
cutoff, the cutoff was right here. If you were making a penny less, we
Hey,
could have
big
given you
time.
food
Hey, big
stamps.
shot. Hey, we gotta cut you off, man. Like
Yeah,
that 25 cents. Ah,
they're wild, dude. And it's
it's
like
crazy.
the funny thing is, right? Food stamps. I suggest, especially, I know people are probably not listening to this podcast, but if you're in grad school or in undergrad,
Uh,
use the food stamps, dude. Like
yeah, definitely.
I didn't know about food stamps in grad school until like my second year, and I
Hmm.
wish or my third year, and I wish I had known because it would have helped so much. And I probably wouldn't have had to get a job. Like well, granted, I had to pay rent, so I needed a job. But like,
Hmm. Yeah, that help
if
out
I
more.
had known, yeah, if I had known sooner, dude, I wouldn't have had to like lose so much weight and like almost die.
Like same. But I feel like it's the stigma associated with the whole system is what keeps people away from even looking into it until people probably feel like you have to get this when you have a house, family, or whatever. They don't think about getting assistance from the government at all because of the stigma.
And the thing is too, the stigma, and then you have people calling you lazy or
Mm.
like looking down on you because you're using food stamps or you're using government assistance. Is like, what am I supposed to do? Y'all judging me for using the government assistance when I actually need the help
Yeah.
and I actually trying to get better off in life. It's not like I just sitting on my thumb up my butt humming a happy tune and just living for free. Like I doing stuff to try and get out of my situation.
Hmm. Okay,
That's
so I feel like we've rabbit holed far away from relationship advice here.
way far.
Man,
I guess this is kind of a relationship with our employer in a way.
I guess so.